Welcome back for another video. As the international break starts to draw to a close, we're going to have a look at who the best players to buy are. I found some great stats for you all this week, and we're also going to talk about news from over the international break. There's lots more great FPL content to come this week, so make sure you hit subscribe if you're not already. Starting off with the goalkeeper projections. For Gameweek 13, Ramsdale and Johnston are the top. Raya is ineligible to play against Brentford as he's on loan from them, so Ramsdale will come in. However, for that reason he's an avoid, as there's a good chance Raya is back between the sticks from Gameweek 14. So definitely don't buy Ramsdale. Something to bear in mind with Johnston is that their fixtures turn for the worst after the next three, where they've got a run of Liverpool, Man City, Brighton, Chelsea, Brentford and then Arsenal. So Johnston's somewhat of a short-term pick now. In fact, if you own him, the perfect replacement could be Sanchez in a few weeks when Chelsea hit a really good run of games. Ederson and Alisson drop off the projections this week with a big fixture after the break with Man City home to Liverpool. Although West Ham can't keep a clean sheet to save their life at the moment, Areola does have a great run of games, as shown by his 17.3 projected points over the next 5. Only Leno and Sarr are marginally higher here. So the answer is to stay patient with Areola. It's a low priority transfer. Again, there is an opportunity to move him on after the fixtures turn, which isn't until Gameweek 18. Another player that isn't here is Vicario, as he's got Aston Villa next weekend. He's actually second best in the league after Kaminsky for expected goals prevented, which is a measurement of expected goals on target minus goals conceded, so he's having a great season, and unsurprising to see him high if you've watched him. However, they are missing Van de Ven potentially till the new year, Romero for another couple of games, so it could be the right time to move him on. Onto the defenders. We've got some difficult fixtures next game week, which is evident by the defenders table. Trippier's joint top with Saliba, the Palace defenders are up there, and then we've got Castagna and Zuma. Trippier has withdrawn from international duty for personal reasons, so it's something to keep an eye on. He's exactly 50% owned, and if you're one of those 5.1 million that own him, wait for Howe's press conference before making any moves. Saliba's top in the league among defender projections with 18.4 over the next 5. Something we mentioned in the video before the break, which is relevant now, is the fact that he's not a starter for France, so when there's international breaks he gets a rest. We saw France defeat Gibraltar, a massive 14-0, Todibo and Upamecano started in centre-back. I do feel for Ethan Santos by the way, he scored an own goal that game, he got a red card and then lost 14-0. Just as well it wasn't FPL, well that would be the equivalent of a minus 11 point game week. Saliba did come on for the last 10 minutes that game, which is the first time he's got minutes for France in well over a year. Gabriel on the other hand has started Brazil's last 5 in a row. Some positive news over the break if you're a Newcastle fan, with Botman progressing well, Amron and Isak also fit, but not such good news if you're a Lascelles owner. The challenge right now is that every move we make should have blank Gameweek 18 in mind when City and Brentford don't play. It's a good fixture for Newcastle that week, but whether Lascelles is still starting looks doubtful. Annoyingly, there's no super cheap enablers with a good Gameweek 18 fixture as it stands. Kabori's got Newcastle, Branthwaite's away to Spurs, Taylor's away to Fulham, which isn't too bad, but they're still yet to keep a clean sheet this season. So is it time to sell cash? He's averaged 2.2 points per game week over the last 5, which is really poor. And he's got Spurs after the break, though he does have Bournemouth Game Week 14. It's not a pressing transfer, you could probably wait till Game Week 15 before they face City and Arsenal, but Saliba and Gabriel are 2 solid replacements this week. Maguire returns from the break away to Everton, who have been docked 10 points and as such they've dropped into 19th place. You wouldn't be surprised if Everton still survive this season. Man United have had some positive news in the sense that Luke Shaw's going to be back from injury after the international break. He's been a huge miss, we haven't seen him since Game Week 2. Let's have a look at the midfielders. First let's talk injuries. Mitoma is likely to miss Brighton's next match against Nottingham Forest after picking up an injury over the break. If he's out then he's a definite sell, and Mbumo's a standout replacement for around the same price, despite the Arsenal fixture. Bowen's also withdrawn from international duty. Southgate said, "Unfortunately Jared picked up an injury, we don't think it's going to be anything serious, but we wouldn't want to take a risk in that situation." Antonio's also gotten injured over the break, it's looking like 3 months out for him, so I really wouldn't be surprised if this was a quote-unquote international break injury, with West Ham unwilling to risk him in a dead rubber game against North Macedonia. So Son is top of the Gameweek 13 projections with 6.5 points home to Aston Villa. So it's a great captain option, and in fact across all players as it stands he's top in the league. However, as we know, Maddison and Richarlison are injured long term, Van de Ven and Romero both miss him. We saw Son drop deep a lot last match. Perhaps the lack of a ball playing centre back plus no Maddison to help progress the ball, a consequence of that. Son's average position was the second deepest it's been all season last match, only the Arsenal game was deeper. We've only got a one match sample without these players, but there could be an opportunity to sell him here and bet on Spurs struggling without some key players. The projections can sometimes take time to catch up with this type of news that can impact output. So that brings us back to Bowen, and turning out for 3 months might mean that Bowen starts as centre forward for the foreseeable future. He's played there 27 times for West Ham in all comps, 12 goals and 6 assists. In right wing, he's returned in 48% of games, in centre forward he's returned in 66% of games. He's actually on an impressive run of games in the Premier League specifically as well as a centre forward. 2 blanks in his last 10 starts, 7 goals and 3 assists in 10. So if Bowen is given the all clear, there is an opportunity to make the swap, with Bowen facing Burnley, who have conceded 30 goals this season. Only Sheffield United have conceded more with 31. Kudus could also be a shout, probably nailed in Antonia's absence, 6.5 mil and only 1.4% owned, huge differential. Saka also an option as a Son replacement if you want to make the moves, he's second on the projections this week. Let us know in the comments whether you think it's too risky and Son's a hold, or if you are considering selling. Eze's got 2 returns in 2 games since returning from injury, or 1 and a bit games really, as he got an assist off the bench in Gameweek 11. He's only 6.1 mil now, Palace's talisman on penalties and set pieces, really great price for everything he offers. If you don't own Mbeumo and you're not getting him this week, it's a move to consider penciling in for Gameweek 14 when they're home to Luton. Among midfielders, he's third after Salah and Son for projected points over the next 5. Again, that does leave you a player down in Gameweek 18, but he's worth it given the fixtures before, and it means we need to ensure the rest of our team is strong enough for that week. Perhaps that's another great argument in favour of Son to Bowen or Saka actually. That money does let you bolster the rest of your team. We mentioned earlier that Isak and Alma are on the back from injury, which should be good news for Gordon. Newcastle massively suffered last match with so many injuries, but a front 3 of Gordon, Isak and Almiron will be a huge boost. Onto the forwards, and the caveat here is that Haaland is yellow flagged at the time of recording, so that's reduced his projected points slightly. Nonetheless, with 90 expected minutes, he'll be top among the forwards with 5 points, home to Liverpool. Haaland reportedly picked up a minor injury and as such not being risked in Norway's game against Scotland. However, it's not expected to be a serious one and he's expected to play against Liverpool. Solanke is second among the forwards for next game week. He scored both goals in their 2-0 win over Newcastle before the break. 1.31 expected goal involvement, his highest of the season, and he's got Sheffield United next. Looks a great budget forward, and in blank game week 18 he's got Nottingham Forest, which isn't too bad. A big question many of us are going to need to answer in the coming weeks is whether to hold Watkins or sell him before Man City and Arsenal in game week 15 and 16. Aston Villa are awkward because they've got the best fixture in blank game week 18 home to Sheffield United, but the likes of Cash, Diaby and Douglas Luiz are justifiable sells. Watkins however could be a hold. Archer makes the table as well this week with 4 projected points. Should we start him? He's home to Bournemouth, so the answer is probably yes, but it does depend on who you're benching. They're hoping to have turned a corner with a win and a draw in their last 2 games, and Archer scored a brilliant goal long range against Wolves a couple of game weeks back. Evan Ferguson came off injured for the Republic of Ireland with a hamstring injury over the break, which should boost João Pedro's chances of a start. Though Ferguson did miss Brighton's last league game as well, and João Pedro still didn't start. With Welbeck and Mitoma potentially out, you'd expect there to be a very good chance he gets the nod though. If this video was useful, please hit like to support the channel and subscribe for more great FPL content to come this week. Thanks for watching and see you soon for the next one.